obviously you don't.
Yeah.
Or you binge and then you throw up and then you go along.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. It's just what you do.
This is obviously what you do.
However you look on the outside, if you don't feel it on the inside, you'll never be hot.
It's true.
Before we jump in, if you are someone who does struggle with a disorder or is struggling with any kind of affliction of the mind, make sure you get help. Make sure you reach out and get help. Hey team, welcome to today's video. I have something a little different today. Now, there is no real structure to today's video. I had the opportunity or the privilege to be invited on my good friend and colleague Sarah Florence's her podcast. The reason we sat down and we did this video or did this podcast on her channel was because we were in the middle of our annual fitness challenge that we run at where we work, Active Monash, and it's called The Biggest Winner. We wanted to convey the importance of having a healthy relationship with your food. And a lot of this will make more sense as we go through. Now, I have turned off comments on this video because it is a very sensitive topic. We all don't need trolls leaving their dirty stains. Before we jump in, if you are someone who does struggle with a disorder or is struggling with any kind of affliction of the mind, make sure you get help. Make sure you reach out and get help.
We are here in my lounge as per usual. We being me and Hayden.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So Hayden is my colleague, my friend. He's also actually kind of my boss, but not really in this context.
Not in this context.
He can try telling me what to do, but it's probably not going to be successful.
Yeah.
As it never really is.
No. I try to be the boss and you're like, no.
Pretty much, but no, I've known Hayden for 2 years. He's a very close friend. So we work for Active Monash, which is a council-run series of leisure centres, I guess. Don't worry, this is not going to be about work. That's just how I know him. So what we're going to talk about today is food and why we get all messed up about it a lot of the time. If you listen to an episode a couple of sessions back, I talked to Katrina Borg, nutritionist, athlete, owner of Married to My Macros. We talked a lot more about, I guess, more the science sort of stuff around food. But this is going to be more about the feels.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, like, that's always been my issue. So, yeah, but enough about me, really, because Hayden is not really here to hear about that. So, why don't you tell us about yourself, your story, your journey with the foods?
Well, similar to Sarah, I am a former chef. My journey into this, I guess, realm of health and fitness started way back in, I don't know what year it was, but I was 17. It was only a few years ago.
He's lying, he's real old.
Yeah, that was almost, gosh, what I said, 20?
Oh my god, 20 years ago you were 17?
Holy crap.
Shit,
Yeah,
you old.
Anyway, that's when I really got into doing weights and getting into fitness. So I was an under 18s body sculptor. This was way back when I was living in Broken Hill. My relationship with food started to break down at that point. And that's because I was young and I was being impressioned that I needed, in order to be happy and to be successful, you had to look a certain way. For you to look a certain way, you had to compromise on a few things. And food, for me, was the one thing that I started to compromise on. And that became a 20-year stint of having bulimia. So fast forward up until today, like I just said, it has been a 20-year battle for me with food. I'm okay now, but it hasn't been a very smooth road when it comes to the food. And there's my feels, and there's my my journey in a nutshell.
That's
I could expand it, but we don't have all day, so.
Well, we've got a fair amount of time. Let's talk about the body sculpting. So I don't think a lot of people would really understand what that is. So what I'm envisioning is the person on the stage with all the tan and all the muscles doing the poses. Am I thinking about the same thing?
Yeah, so
Cool.
as you know, bodybuilding and fitness models, they're different categories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it was part of that. It was a category, body sculpting.
Sure.
It's all about, you pick a muscle group. So for me, it was my lats and it was my shoulders. And
I picked my butt.
well, I mean, you worked everything, but you showcase that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it was, and mine was the diamond of my back, the rhomboids and blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
In order to get those muscles to stand out, you had to have a very low body fat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And as we know, the way to do that is by putting yourself in a fairly severe calorie deficit for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my understanding is that people who compete in these sort of is it a sport?
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
a
really
sport.
It's not really physical though, is it?
It's considered a sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it odd, right? Because I'm just getting sidetracked from my own sentence, but I find it odd that they call it a sport when there's nothing actually functional about it. They're not seeing how strong your lats are. They're not seeing how many pull-ups you can do using them.
Yeah.
They're seeing what they look like.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the most it's like sitting down is more of a sport.
Yes.
It doesn't really make any sense.
It's like saying a model is a sport as well.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Crazy. So my understanding with the sport is that you wouldn't walk around looking like that. You would basically train to look like that for the day to compete, and then you would go back to whatever your normal body would look like.
Yes.
But did you find, because I feel like I would, that once you've looked like that once, you want to look like that or as close to that all the time?
All the time.
Right? And to do that, you would have to be in that really restrictive, really unhealthy eating pattern.
All the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's something that not everybody really knows. Like when you see photos of people on Instagram or, any social media and they look like that, you just think, man, they must have some discipline.
Yeah.
But they're bloody starving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always chasing that. That's like confirmation. Yes, you've made it. Yes, you're beautiful. You've been noticed. You are successful now because you look like this and people have recognized your hard work.
Right.
Without actually knowing behind the scenes that you're miserable.
Yeah. So the external validation that
Yes.
isn't reflected intrinsically at all because
No.
you feel like a piece of crap unless you look
Yeah.
that amazing.
Yeah. And you need to get that constant feedback.
Yeah.
You're doing good, you're doing good, you're doing good, you're doing good. And that just perpetuates the cycle.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, for myself in my sport, which is an actual sport.
Not standing around showing off your
Not
muscles.
standing around. So my sport is weight class. So basically that means that you need to weigh under a certain body weight to compete. Yeah. So similar to fighting, although they get, I think it's a 24-hour weigh-in, whereas I have to weigh in 2 hours before I compete, right? So the thing is with that is you don't walk around at that body weight most of the time. Well, some people do, sure, but ideally you want to be a couple of kilos over that weight normally, and that's so that you can train better, pretty much. Because obviously the more you weigh, the easier your lifts are going to feel, right? But you don't want to be too far over that body weight because then you have to cut too much weight leading into the comp. Yeah. So I normally I'm in a 64 kilo weight class, and I've put on a little bit of weight recently. So I normally weigh around like 65, 66 kilos. And what I do to get to that body weight is called a weight cut or a water cut, basically. So I just drink a whole bunch of water and I cut my calories down as I go the week before the comp, and I end up losing about 2.5 kilos in a week, right? So, similar to what you're saying, it's not healthy, it's not sustainable. I'll pretty much put that back on within a day.
Yeah.
So it's not the best.
No.
So I feel though that people try and implement things like this, like looking like that, weighing that just every single day.
Yes.
And I guess what we're trying to say is that that's not realistic, that's not sustainable.
No.
How did you find you got out of that mindset? Did you stop like competing? Did you stop doing the body sculpting?
I did.
Yeah.
I stopped. I only had one competition, and all it took for this disorder to take root was that one competition.
Wow.
That's all it took. Obviously, there was, I had a history of being bullied at school and XYZ, so that had already weakened my mindset or weakened my psyche and allowed it to take root. I went to therapy. I had to go to aggressive therapy because there was a point in my life where, like, I'm 85 kilos right now. I'm 5'7". I was under 70 kilos. I had lost a lot of weight. My heart was failing. I was not in a very good state. So my family stepped in and I got help. That's how it got me out.
Did you think that you had a problem?
No, I couldn't see it.
Wow, yeah.
And it's funny because you can look back, and it's like any traumatic event. You look back and it's like you're watching a movie or you're watching the scene of something, and you can see it from an external point of view, but you can't remember being in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, therapy got me out of that, and it gave me the perspective to see what was happening was not healthy. And that's why I would never go back into doing super, intense weight training anymore, because it becomes a trigger for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I have had fairly disordered eating in the past. I used to take a lot of drugs when I was younger, and at my lightest I weighed 45 kilos, and that's
crazy.
That's 20 kilos less than what I weigh now.
Yeah.
I would go a week without eating, just due to the sort of the drugs that I was taking and the effect that they had on me, like massive appetite suppression. I was so unhealthy. I basically lived on cigarettes and Diet Coke. And this was when I was about 18, 19. And then a pretty lengthy amount of time of just partying, drugs, drinking, eating a whole bunch of crap, led me to put on, about 20 kilos. Not in a good way. And I only really started to change my life about 6 years ago, to be honest. And it was, I guess, finding like a passion in fitness, and not how it made me look, but how it made me feel. I think that was what changed for me.
Yeah.
And then I got a little bit obsessed with it. I think that's the thing, and I see you're quite similar in that you love something so much, you become super obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what I'm like. I discovered CrossFit, which is a really high intensity weightlifting, gymnastics, and I guess functional training style of exercise. Became massively obsessed with that. I lost a whole bunch of weight, got down to just under 60 kilos. I was like 13% body fat. I loved CrossFit. I loved it so much, but I had just the worst habits. I would basically starve myself because I wanted to look the way that you see a CrossFitter look on social media. I wanted the abs.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to look like those girls. And for me, it was kind of more about the image than it was about, well, it became that way anyway, than what I was actually achieving physically. I would, eat maybe like 1,500 calories a day, which maybe you think is a lot, but for someone who's training 2-3 hours a day, it's really not. And then I would binge eat on the weekend, make myself throw up. So that was only like a couple of years ago, I guess. And now I'm probably the heaviest I've ever been, but like I just think of it as being functional. Like, what do you want to achieve with your body?
Yeah.
Like, now I just want to lift the heaviest thing I can over my head. So it can't really be a stick figure to do that.
No.
You know.
And if you're not enjoying it, then how are you going to enjoy life? Like, you need to sit down, you need to actually take the time. This all comes from my therapy. You need to be present at the moment when you are having your meals.
Yeah, so don't mindlessly scroll through your phone
while you're
eating.
shoveling food in.
Like, think about what you're eating. Think about, like, what you're putting in your body and what it's going to make your body do.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I try and do that when I'm eating my pre-training oats or my banana or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what this is going to help me to lift, you know?
Yeah.
What this is making my body do. And honestly, like, I'm not perfect at all by any means. I was literally just complaining to my partner about how fat I felt like an hour ago. It was like standing in the kitchen being like, does my stomach look fat at this angle? It's like, oh my God. You're fine. But it's so hard, and especially being in this industry, and I guess as a trainer, you know, you have this expectation that you've got to look perfect, eat perfect, but I don't. Last night I had like 5 beers and ate pizza at midnight.
Yeah.
You know, I feel disgusting today.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm hungover today.
I seriously had like 5 beers, and I even had protein bars in my bag because I was like, we're going to get hungry and we're not going to eat rubbish. And literally on the way home, we're ordering pizza. Yeah. This morning, my partner's in the kitchen eating the cold pizza and was like, do you want some breakfast? I'm like, I'm not having that, mate. I'm going home.
Yeah. And
came home and ate a bowl of veggies.
Yeah.
So I think what I find that I tell myself is you're never so far off the wagon that you can't, like, you can't get back on. Like, it's going to take one action. It's going to take one habit.
Yeah.
Something simple.
Yeah.
Have a bowl of veggies. Go for a walk. Just that one action is going to put you right back on track.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know? I think so many people tend to have this, like, all or nothing approach. Like, he was like, well, the whole rest of the weekend's been shit, so may as well. I'm like, no. Seriously. No, you don't. It's the same thing as like, well, I haven't been to the gym this week. It's Wednesday. I'll just start on Monday. No, mate. There's like 4 more days in the week. Ridiculous. So I think it's about allowing yourself to have the odd pizza,
beer,
5 beers,
wine.
Not that we're advocating for alcoholism here.
No.
However, yeah, I guess when I was CrossFitting, when I had abs, when I had 13% body fat, I was single. I stayed home by myself on the weekend because I would prefer to binge eat by myself.
Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. Exactly.
Yeah. So I would like not go to social occasions because I'd be worried that people would judge me for not wanting to eat what they were serving or drink with everyone else, and yet I would stay home and make myself throw up.
Yeah, I was the same. Whenever I was invited to events, I would always be like, "Oh, I'll eat before I come."
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Don't put a place out for me.
I would do
I'll
that too.
eat before I get there. And obviously, you don't.
Yeah.
Or you binge and then you throw up and then you go along.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. It's just what you do.
This is obviously what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but you know, and when I look back, I realized that I was really quite bloody miserable, I guess.
Same.
You know, like that's not fun. Yeah,
No.
I was hot and people took photos of me and posted them on Instagram, but who cares?
But were you though? Because I mean, I was a male model, and I remember when I was first signed up to Epic Model Talent, which was in Cremorne, just a suburb over.
Yeah.
They told me when I was at the height of my bulimia, I was 70 kilos. I needed to lose 5 kilos. So it was.
I don't remember thinking that I was hot at the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, if I look back, I'm just like, damn.
So the funny thing is, it's however you look on the outside, if you don't feel it on the inside, you'll never be hot.
It's true.
Like, you'll never be hot. And I always had the same thought. It was like, I'd be on this cover of this magazine, I'd be in this advert, but the entire time you're like, I'm disgusting, I'm worthless, I need to lose more, I need to be smaller.
Yeah.
But looking back, you're like, damn!
I know, and now my butt's so big I got a hole in my tights.
Exactly. This morning.
And I'm like, yeah, you do that, but it's going to lift some serious weight.
Exactly.
Like I was saying the other week with Katrina, if your eating habit is not sustainable for life, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
any habit.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do it forever, why are you doing it now?
Exactly.
You know?
And if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it?
Trust me, any of these challenges, diets, any of these things that we decide is going to be the miracle that is going to make us look like what we used to look like, trust me, it's no.
No, it's not sustainable, and it's not going to enrich your life.
No.
Thanks for watching, team. I know it was a little heavy, but I felt like I wanted to share this with you. It wasn't my entire story. It was just a snapshot of little bits, little pinpoints in my timeline when it comes to my recovery. In a future date, I will sit down and tell you my full story, if that's something that you wanted to see. Make sure you have subscribed, you hit the notification bell, you've done all the fun stuff. More importantly, you keep watching.